Recently, I've been thinking about the easy pitfall of taking on more and more and more work until eventually everyone burns out. Many of us have that inner hustle driving us to say yes to every request. We constantly try to cater to everyone's demands and make everyone happy. It's that feeling that you and your team, you've got to do it all. Not only that, but you have to do it quickly. And my hope is that you will walk away today willing to shift how you show up for work, both for your teams and for yourself. Let me tell you something. Back in the day, in my early years as a product manager, I believe that every single thing that was being asked of us was important. Customer requests were constantly coming in. We were over-promising and under-delivering over and over again. And I felt like we were always behind. I felt like I was always letting everyone down. That's how badly overwhelm manifested for me during those times. Eventually, we burned out trying to manage unrealistic expectations. One after another, my team started to fall apart. And things didn't look good from a personal perspective either. That constant pressure that there were so many commitments to deliver and they were all important, it was killing me. At the same time, we couldn't really finish any of it because we were constantly interrupting what we were doing to start the new request that had just arrived. I felt paralyzed by overwhelm. It seemed that I was just going to stay stuck in this feeling. I felt like there was literally no way out. There was no way to move forward. Did you know that when you have this feeling of overwhelm, when you feel like you can't move, like you're frozen, that's a real response of your nervous system to fear and anxiety? While for some, this can mean physical symptoms like shaking or sweaty palms, for others, this can show itself as a mental shutdown. When you're not being able to sleep properly, if your heart is racing, if you can't take deep breaths, or you're getting headaches, these are physical symptoms that signify that you're under severe pressure. And this is always a sign that there is something off, that you need to make a shift to release that pressure. Nowadays, one of the things I hear a lot, especially from my super ambitious clients, is that this is just the way it is. So the expectation is that we're going to be available 24 hours a day. We're going to start working on whatever is asked of us immediately, and we will ideally deliver it that same day. We're going to be there for every meeting and say yes to all the fancy requests. And what is it that we're aiming for? We want to maintain our level of success. We want to reach the level of recognition that we aspire to. What we don't really realize is that we also have to make a sacrifice. And that sacrifice is usually our physical well-being, our mental well-being, our emotional well-being, our spiritual well-being, and our relationships, both ours and those of our teams. And it only takes a certain number of years of going down this road to realize this is not going to be the path to long-lasting success. Eventually, your health falls apart, or your marriage falls apart, or your relationship to your kids falls apart, or you just find yourself shaking on the floor at 3 a.m. and you can't function properly. And I think that we don't talk about this enough. These things happen a lot, and we simply aren't talking about it as much as we should. We've been brainwashed to believe that our value is based on how busy we are. It's not, and it has never been so. Do we have to go through these really tough times before we are able to wake up and say, wait for a second, something needs to change, something feels off here? I want to encourage you to take a stand. Instead of trying to do all the things all at once, really, just say no. Or at least say yes, but later, respectfully but firmly. If you need permission to just stop saying yes, I'm happy to be that person. You can't just stop now. And if you're a people pleaser or a recovering people pleaser, just like me, if you're someone who doesn't like to get into confrontations or difficult conversations, there are two very simple things that can help. Firstly, play a little trick to your mind. Just say, if I continue to say yes to everything, if I continue to pretend that we have it all together when we don't, eventually I and everyone else in my team won't be able to show up for the people we love the most. So every time when you say, yes, we'll handle this, but later our process is fully utilized at the moment, or even, no, we won't handle this at all because it doesn't fit within our business vision, if you can then reframe each of those occurrences as the little investment in your well-being, you'll be in a great place. Just think about how these small actions lead to a relief in team overburden, take you a step closer to a good work-life balance, and how they enable you to be present for the people you love. With this approach, you can actually trick yourself into getting better at saying no. Most of us need that when we're just starting out with this transition. Secondly, provide the evidence. Start measuring your team's capability and your demand. Then show your customers the results. No one can argue with numbers. When your demand outstrips your capacity and you're able to demonstrate that pushing new work actually leads to delayed deliveries, poor predictability, and exhausted and overburdened teams, the conversation takes a totally different perspective. When we worship at the altar of success, when that's the only defining measurement of our worth, things can get really messy. I hate that I'm talking from experience, but it's true. I hope this story inspires you to slow down and show up for your teams and yourself.